Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Falling Skies Fan Podcast, brought to you by Tiger Prince Entertainment, TPE Network.com. I'm your host, Hank Davis, and joining me via Skype, as he often does, he's Alex Cruz. How the heck are you, Alex?
Hey, great. And we are now at the finale of season three of Fallen Skies.
And what I'm starting to hear consistently is hopefully four is the last season. I've heard that on numerous occasions since you and I have speculated about how long they're going to try and keep this show going. So we'll
Well,
see.
um, Remy Albashan this was his last episode, co-creator Remy Albashan. And accordingly, he is going to be replaced as a writer from Battlestar Galactica alumni, David Icke.
Wow.
So, as good as Battlestar Galactica was, the second version, not the first version. Of course, I love the first. I prefer the sci-fi or the sci-fi special effects of the first version because you have the pew pew guns, and the second one we didn't get the pew pew guns. But anyway,
You're
I
like,
digress.
bring the real guns. That's
Bring the
awesome.
lasers.
Bring set the phasers to stun. Well, why don't we just jump right into ratings, Alex?
Okay. Ratings just came out, so you're hearing this here first, ladies and gentlemen. Just came out probably not more than 5 minutes ago, and we are at a 3.7 million viewers, which is the second best uh, showing of the season, and I should say it's tied for second because, as we know, about 2 weeks ago we did the 3.7 as well, and that was with Strange Brew. It did a 3.74, which is exactly what, when we round all the numbers up, is exactly what Brazil did. And remember that the season premiere was a 2 hour, so they showed the first two episodes together, which did a 4.21.
Yes. Yep.
And so when we look at season two, um, the season finale got a 3.84. So basically, we're not that far from a 3.84. We're just at a 3.74.
But you know what? It just seems like there's, I don't know if this is isolated, but it just seems like there's a movement, a group of people that are ready to close the door on this series. Is that what you're starting to hear throughout the internet, or are you hearing something different as far as just from a
Well,
fan perspective?
if if you're following the butt kissers on Twitter, there's like, oh, this is the best season ever. And folks, I disagree. This was not the best season ever.
No.
And I'm not going to spoil anything because we're going to get to it, but I will say that um, basically, if we get rid of every all the episodes that came in between episode 1 and episode 10 of season 3, you really wouldn't be missing a whole lot.
You make a good point. That is kind of
And
true.
and I hate to say this, but I, with editing and stuff, I think you could easily fit this whole season from being around 10 hours to maybe 2.
Oh man, you're talking about getting rid of all the repeat conversations and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you. This season 3 so far, well, season 3 in retrospect was a letdown. That's what I want to say. Just in my opinion.
So now there were some great things that they did this season. Don't get me wrong, but there were some um I, I don't know. My whole issue was with the Volm. Like the first episode, I was all for it. and I thought, well, good things are going to come of it. But they kind of basically all season were basically put on the back burner.
Yes, they were. I agree.
And I think we could have had and other we now we did see Cochise quite a bit, but that's it. What about the other Volm? And I know this episode, I love this episode, the season finale, because we basically got what I've been asking for since episode 1 of season 3 is we got to see more of the Volm.
Yeah, we got to see a little too much of them. Uh, Alex, shall we start our recap of Brazil, the season 3 finale?
Yeah, let's get to it.
We start out with Weaver, Pope, Anthony, and Lyle. They're on a train. And I was wondering, what the heck are they doing on a train? Did you grasp what was going on just instantly as soon as it came on, or were you like me and it took you a little while to go, oh, this is what's happening?
Well, my main my when I saw it, my main thing was, oh, they're on their way to Boston. But then I thought this is kind of hokey because wouldn't the Ishfini would have busted up a lot of those rail lines, and then we find out they're actually going to Chicago,
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
which I think is an even greater distance. And yeah, I didn't buy it.
So Kadar is talking to Cochise and Tom about getting the weapon to work. And what did I tell everybody? How Kadar was like, well, it should do this when it does. You know what I mean? I told you
Right.
guys that he was gonna have some kind of put some bubble gum on it and smack it really hard and to get it to fire routine. I knew he was gonna do that. And they give Hope that Weaver had given Pope that gigantic gun on the train. That gun was not a pew pew gun. That was a real gun, and I loved that. Love that big gun.
Now, see that's another thing, and you know what, I don't know what the special effects or prop budget was like for these episodes, but come on, guys, you got to put it up a notch. If we only see that this gun should have been used a lot more prevalently in this whole season.
Yeah, you have something like that in your arsenal, and you don't break it out for any reason. Come on, man. You would have
Yeah.
that sucker because it would. I mean, we're gonna see later on that it's the real deal. So this is where Anthony questions why they brought Lourdes, and she looks like you said in the beginning, a demonically possessed individual. She's all sweating and her eyes are all black and blue looking and puffy and like she's getting ready to spit out a demon or something.
I think we were all ready for her head to spin around 360 and for her to spit up a bunch of pea soup.
Start talking in riddles and all that stuff. Oh, that's awesome. So she looked haggard, and I was like, "Yeah, why did you bring her?" But they explained that.
Okay, now this. Okay, I didn't buy this either.
What
Wouldn't the
their
Volm
explanation?
have got the Volm? I thought since they got that out of hell, wouldn't they have done the same thing to Lourdes?
Thank you.
This made no sense to me.
Point. I mean, it was just like, okay, you got to do it one way for Hal, but with her, you're gonna do it a different way. No continuity. Oh my goodness.
I don't know. I don't know if they were using her as bait or what, but
That's what
still,
that's what they ended up saying. But to me, it's like,
how is this using her as bait?
yeah, they were like, oh well, they're gonna know that she's traveling because of those things, that she's in this area. So Hal, Maggie, and the brothers are getting ready to go to battle. Team Haggy, Hal and Maggie, start talking about, like life after the war. I said marriage when I typed this out, but not really marriage, but, what would it be like to, have a nice little house and all this stuff. And boy, did I get the impression that Maggie was a little bit uncomfortable by that conversation?
No, because it was because their ideals were so different. Hal imagines kind of like the traditional American suburban life where you have a nice house, white picket fence, uh, wife, and 1.2 kids.
Yeah.
And Maggie's like, no, I'm gonna kick butt for the rest of my life. I don't know what I want to do when the war is over.
Man, and that seems like something that you'd want to have ironed out, you know?
And no, and as the episode ends, I think it's gonna set things up for next season. This difference.
Okay, I agree with you, and I think we have an email about that too. I agree. The Grudge 4, I mean Lourdes, is freaking out. Just then it's time to go to war for the train gang, is what I call them. And this is the part I wrote, it's daylight out. Wayne Henderson would be proud because Wayne, remember in season one when Wayne was like, how come everything happens at night? So this was daylight. They listened to you, Wayne. It was daylight out. So I thought that was really cool. And then that's when we see the plan has totally been revealed when they switch back to the Masons. Matt puts on those shades, he can see the grid, and we find out that Weaver and Pope and company are in Chicago, and Tom, his boys and company, are hitting Boston. I thought that was a fantastic plan, but can you explain to me why is Jean in Boston?
Because I think I know exactly why she's in Boston. Because Dan Weaver and his gang are going to be taking the brunt of everything.
Okay.
And he doesn't want to get her in harm's way, even though she has but the potential to be in harm's way. Not quite as bad as Weaver and Pope's group.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So I understand that completely.
So then they fire the Volm weapon, and was
Okay,
that
but before we get started on firing this Volm weapon,
okay?
did somebody get a shrinking ray and shrink the size of this thing? Because once is this thing supposed to be ginormous?
Yes, you are correct. I forgot about that. When they showed the two Volm next to it, the same two Volm that they showed by it every time they showed it, they looked miniature compared to it. And but it's on this boat, and it looks like a team of four can pick this sucker up. Good point. Good call out.
Yeah, it's another inconsistency. I'll go. I got more coming up, so you guys just wait.
And just hang on. I love it. Nice, nice. So they fire this Volm weapon, and it appears like it's just no dice. Because it's just like, I'm sorry, but it was just such a anticlimactic fire. It was like pew, and it hits a leg, and it just appears to do nothing.
It's very similar to the first episode where we see that Volm weapon. I think was what one shot took out 3 of the Ishvini ships.
Yes, yes.
The same type of pulse that came from this weapon.
Yeah, that was true. That same effect. And so here comes the Ishvini planes. They've been deployed. But boom, we find out it's just a delayed reaction. It must take some time for this Volm weapon to mess stuff up. But here's my question to you, because now the leg falls and then everything collapses. The grid is coming down, and everybody starts celebrating. But here's my question to you: the way they hit that leg, couldn't you achieved a similar reaction with American-made bombs? If you just had to blow one of those legs off so the sucker falls, couldn't you have achieved that same thing?
I think with any type of conventional weapon that we have, whether it be like some type of a missile or a rocket. Yeah, that could have done this exact same thing.
because it appeared to be just, a simplistic type of structure in the end. Before, I guess I had this notion that it was going to be some sort of complex setup that you needed this specific energy weapon to go through various things or whatever. I don't know.
Hmm.
And it didn't turn out to be like that. So it looks like Cochise's boys have arrived in their snowflake ship. Did anybody else notice that the ship looked like a burning snowflake as it was heading to the ground?
Now that was kind of I thought this was really cool because all of a sudden this ginormous thing comes out of the sky and just basically lands at the exact same spot where the tower was after they destroyed the what was it the second time they destroyed that tower.
That's what we speculate. Both.
And so whatever this was at first that came out of the sky and just basically landed right on it. This was probably taller than any single skyscraper in the metropolitan Boston area. This was and there's like no way you're going to move this one. So I thought, oh crap, what if this is the Ishvini saying, ha ha.
We got you. That'd been
But
great.
I think it was obvious though that it was the Volm.
Was it realistic that there was no other resistance besides those two ships that showed up? Was that even realistic?
You know what? You'd kind of think they would keep a little bit more than two behind because I understand what the writers were doing with this. They were trying to establish that the Ishvini are extremely weakened, and so they heard that there's going to be this major strike at the Chicago Tower, the Sears Tower in Chicago.
No.
Well, it's not called the Sears Tower anymore, but anyway, and so they thought, well, the attack is going to be there, and so they put all their forces and troops there and take them out of Boston. So I understand what the writers were trying to tell the readers, but was it realistic on a military standpoint that only two ships would stay behind?
No. I didn't think
Not
so.
yeah.
And then the next part was trying to. I don't know. I don't think I would be partying after a mission like that, but I guess that's what people do is they throw a big second mass style party once they win a mission. So they're all partying and playing music and stuff like that. And Tom's getting ready for his Volm speech. I guess he's got to talk to the Volm elite commander the next day or in the next few days or whatever, and he's getting ready for that. And then Weaver and Pope and crew, boy, did they show up relatively quick from Chicago to Boston. Made it by nightfall.
And you know what? I was timing this. All of this stuff that we're talking about has taken place in the first quarter of the episode, the first 15 minutes.
How long of a drive is that? I'm just curious.
So it's basically all this, and you know what? It was like this. All the cool special effects stuff, it all took place the very first 15 minutes of the episode. Now their whole special effects budget is shot. What are they going to do for the rest of the episode?
I've got it. Let's go back underground. Oh my goodness. Oh man. So Tom and Ben have a little exchange. Then Weaver and his crew show up. Cochise and the Volm commander evidently saved Weaver's bacon, and this is where they explain away the time travel. They're like, "Oh, we found it necessary to go send them a ship, save them, and then transport them back here." I was like, "Okay," because I was gonna say that's some time travel stuff to me.
Yeah, there's trying time. Yeah, yeah. You know what? I think I bought it probably about 50%.
You were like, "Okay, that's fair enough."
I was like, how did they get there so quickly?
Because it wouldn't have made any sense because that's just too brief of a time period to have an intense fight and then to get there, have an intense fight and then get from Chicago to Boston. That's insane.
Right.
Same day service.
Now with But the only two that I saw coming back were Pope and Weaver.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't see Pope's lackey with him at all.
Lyle,
Lyle, we didn't see him.
Jim the
Oh,
Anvil Neidhart from WWE.
that's right.
That's what
The
he
Hart
looks.
Foundation.
That's what he looks like. So I guess Tom's meeting gets moved up to the next morning, which sounds odd to begin with. And then Tom's like, "I'm not gonna give a speech. I'm gonna do a toast." It sure as heck sounded like a speech to me. And then they all go around. Pope gives his speech his toast to the fish heads, and Weaver to victory, and they're all dancing, or if you want to call that dancing, whatever that was they were doing is to music and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, like, they honestly think that that is it. You know what I mean? It was almost like they just felt like, well, but we won, which contradicts stuff they're going to say later in the episode about this being a worldwide event. To just in my opinion.
Right.
All right, Tom and Weaver are talking to the Vome commander, and he is Cochise's daddy. So the Vome, they don't want to hear from Tom and Weaver. They don't want their ideas, and they don't want the humans to help in the fight. In fact, they want to relocate the humans to Brazil. So now we know why the name of this episode, it finally makes sense. A title of an episode makes sense. They want to relocate them to Brazil. And when Tom argues, and then he made I just thought this was bad in general, when he tries to stop the commander from walking away, like putting his hands on him, like, "Hey, wait a minute, you got to hear me out," and he gets backhanded across the room for his trouble. I was like, you should expect to
And
get hit.
arrested.
Yeah, but you should expect to get hit, because if I'm walking away from somebody and you try to stop me like that, that might not be your best bet. Because I'm gonna be
Well,
like, why are you putting your hands on me?
Well, Tom didn't want to hear that, and that the second mass is basically being retired, and they're going to spend a life of peace and tranquility in Brazil.
Well, but in America, we do this to the elderly every day. Say, no, you can't contribute. You're going to retire right now.
Oh, that's a good way of.
I just had to really
But
turn it into a heavy moment right there.
and you know what? It was not only that, but if we can go back to the 1800s, this is exactly the same thing that our beloved U.S. government did to Native Americans on their land. We took it from them and sent them on to reservations. That's all Brazil basically was a giant reservation.
Yeah, sounded very familiar, didn't it? When they were
I mean,
talking
yeah,
about
they'll
that.
be safe and stuff, but the poor Native Americans were, and even today, extreme poverty at some of these places.
Yeah. Yes, it's very sad. Lyle is clipping his toenails. Did I say ew or what? Oh, I thought that was nasty that they. I mean, who writes that into a script? He's sitting there clipping his toenails, and Pope's like, "If one of those nails gets into my drink, man." I was like, that'll wake you up better than some Folgers any day. Ugh, gross. I
And
didn't
not
think it
only
was
that,
weird.
but that solves our Lyle issue, because I was almost going to watch it a second time just to see if I can find Lyle on there, because I kept on thinking, oh, did he come back from that Chicago mission?
Mm-hmm.
So I must have missed that scene.
He had more lines than he's ever had in this
All
episode. I think.
right, good Lyle. Call him. He took over for Die, I guess.
Big teddy bear. So Weaver is back and getting everyone out of the area, and he tells the gang about the Vaughn plan. His voice. What accent is that? Is that like a deep South accent, or what accent is he?
I don't know. Well, see, he has been in Charleston, so maybe that way of talking has affected him.
Oh boy, he's like a country western, man. I love it though, man. Let's get packed up and get out of here.
No.
He's like, they're gonna send us to a concentration camp, man. I was in tears. I was like, man, he is trying to get these dudes out of here. And then he like starts having that heart attack. I wasn't expecting that. Were you?
And this was and another thing. This was another thing that I think is it's going to be more prevalent in season 4 because
Okay.
we had seen this before.
Well, we seen this in season 1, right?
I don't remember seeing
I,
his
I
heart problem at all.
I thought he had a chest pains in season 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah, you could have been, and you know what? The writers probably didn't address it
No.
until now.
Nope.
And a lot of times, if you know what, if things don't that were mentioned in season 1 tend to get forgotten by season 3, and that was probably on one of those.
Yeah, and they're like, just then his heart problem comes back. They're in the meeting room talking, and they're like, "Oh, okay. When was this an issue?"
Okay, you know what? I do remember that now. Yes.
Yes. So all right. So he starts, and Jean comes to the rescue, and she's like, "What's this?" So is it safe to say Jean is fine now? That like she's off everybody's radar for being somebody that could be a mole or anything like
Yeah.
that. I would say we got to take her
Yeah.
off that list now. But they did a great job of the subtlety of making it look like she could be up to something. I like that. I thought that was really good. So
Yeah.
before they get their stuff packed up and such, the Volm forces show up, and it was just a handful of them. It was Cochise and
You
like
know what? I saw that too. It was only Cochise and probably about
three
maybe
dudes.
three, yeah, 3 or 4 guys. And how
Yeah.
many second mass people were there?
Hundreds.
Exactly.
It's like bring it. I'd have went toe to toe with them. But instead, they back down. Weaver tells them to back down. And he's like, this is the funniest part of this entire episode to me. Because Weaver's like, look at their weapons, Pope. They got them fancy Volm weapons. Yes, because they're Volm. You know what I mean? It's like, of course they have Volm weaponry.
Like Captain Obvious.
Yes. Who's got the most obvious line in this scene? This guy with the thumbs. It was like, geez, oh Pete. They're using those. We're outgunned. They got them fancy schmancy Volm weapons. I would hope they do. Hope they're not using American weapons. So Pope gives Weaver a hard time about how they got played by the Volm and stuff. And I'm like, they just told you to just put down your guns. Pope's all emptying the bullets out of his guns and stuff. I'm like, they didn't say to do all that. They just said drop your weapons. That's all they said. And Pope, whenever he's right about something, is he not the most hard to live with person ever? I couldn't be friends with a guy like that. You know what I mean?
He's like, hey, I told you so.
I warned you that they were gonna turn because he's skeptical of every single thing. So of course he's gonna be right occasionally.
Right.
Jeez, oh Pete. All right, Tom gets a visit from the Volm Daddy. That's what I'm calling him. And the Volm are confused by the humans' resilience and tenacity. The commander wants to think about it. So he kind of alluded to every other world we went to, everybody just went where we told them to, and they were happy to do it. But here, you guys are all freaking out and stuff. I don't understand. Did you like that exchange, or did you think it was stupid?
Okay. I'm gonna put this on the table right now. Um, throughout this whole episode, I had a question that was never answered. What is the Volm's intent to after the Ishvini are defeated? Are they going to stay on Earth, acting kind of like as a police type force to the Earthlings, or are they going to get out of there too?
Tell me if this sounds familiar. They're going to divide Earth into 4 sections. They're going to keep peacekeeping forces there for the rest. Oh, does that sound familiar?
Exactly. Berlin all over again.
I knew you would get it. Oh, I knew you would get it. It's for your own good, dude. We're here. And we're staying because you have great air bases. All right. let's, let's let me get off my own soapbox and move forward. Oh, where are we at? So at that point, when Tom talked to the Vom commander, did you have a feeling that this was going to get resolved in this episode, or were you thinking, "Wow, is this going to be the cliffhanger part of the thing? Will the humans be enslaved and stuff?" What were your just at this moment? What were your thoughts?
Um, you know what? I don't think I didn't think of anything at that time because I was like, cool, this is the season finale. There's a lot of major things happening right now. And I thought I didn't know if there was going to be I thought it was just an added conflict to the Ishvini problem.
Okay, fair enough.
And I thought maybe something was going to happen at the last minute to that cliffhanger to get us to season 4, but that didn't happen either.
Okay. Now here's the part where Hal goes to see Lourdes, and she's still freaking out and all that. Looks crazy, but she does say that she's always trusted Hal, and Hal says he's gonna make sure she's okay. And that's when Maggie's character, this whole episode, they kind of made it just blatantly obvious that Maggie's character is either A, changing, or B, revealing her true colors. Because she suggests that they should put Lourdes out of her misery. What did you think about that?
See, again, we're seeing this major difference in tones with Maggie and Hal. Maggie's the more volatile, let's get it done quick, no matter how violent it is thing. Where Hal is, okay, come on, let's take it nice and slow and peaceful.
Yeah.
Hal is peaceful, where Maggie is, come on, let's kick some butt.
Yeah, let's kill them all and let God sort them out.
Yeah.
She's got that mentality like that. And I thought they did a good job of showing that dichotomy of the relationship of just, here are your morals. Look at side A, look at side B. Yikes. How's that going to work out? And letting us ask the question of, yowza. But another little quick diversion. I'll just say this quickly. Is nobody's concerned that these bug things that are in Lourdes will get out and make a home in somebody else? Is there anything to that in this entire episode or series that has showed us that they can't transfer from person to person?
You know what? I kind of was wondering something similar to that. I don't think it would be too difficult for something like that to occur.
Which, to me, when you don't explain the rules of the stuff, like this situation with aliens, when you don't explain the rules properly, then it leaves more questions than answers, because it seems like if those things know that, hey, the jig is up, we got to hide in her brain, it seems like they would do anything they could to stay connected to the second mass, which would mean leaving her body and just crawling up the leg of Weaver or somebody else. I don't know. I just didn't think they did a good job of explaining the rules, the parameters of those bugs. But I'll digress. All right, Kochi shows up to lead the humans to their concentration camp, but Tom is free, and he tells the gang that I think at this time Tom still thinks that they might be going to Brazil, correct?
Right.
And Cochise gives them all their guns back and tells them that they are free to go anywhere they want, but they must leave Boston. Did you have a feeling that he was acting alone on this?
I did.
Me too. Because I thought for sure, like, oh, he must be just making this up as he goes along or something.
Well, he's developed a friendship, especially with Tom Mason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're best buds all of a sudden in season 3 without us seeing, off screen mostly.
Exactly.
Tom and Cochise, they have a really cool exchange about seeing, maybe we'll see each other again. Hopefully, I hope that's so, and all this stuff. I was like, wow, interworld friendship. That's interesting. Cochise and his dad they have a talk about the humans, and that was okay, I guess, with the dad saying, something to the effect of, "This is a strange type of species that we've come across here. We've never seen anything like this. This is pretty strange that they're so."
Everyone's been complacent and followed our orders and have been more than happy to be safe rather than to get in harm's way and fight.
Which was cool.
And it was, to me, it was revealed that, you know what, the Volm were actually truthful in what they were saying. They don't want any harm to come to the Earth people, and so they do want to look out for their best interests.
I would like to know more about the Volm, and I have a sneaking suspicion that we will never find out certain things. Like, what are their tactics against the Ashvini specifically? How do they keep from getting those bugs in them, and you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. And then the Skitters, we kind of forgot to talk about how the Skitters wouldn't come on this mission because they don't trust the Volm. The whole episode was geared towards the Volm are up to something, and then it was like, boom, see, told you, they're up to something. But they really weren't. They were actually honest. But they kind of
they try to plant that seed of doubt. And I don't know. I thought it was a very weak seed because I was probably about 50-50 with the Volm instead of like 60% don't trust them, 40% kind of trust them, I guess.
To be honest, I never questioned it. I when I seen that scene, it made it look like it was pieced together, and we were just getting, as we did, we only got a little brief snapshot of that scene. And I thought to myself, well, that's somebody doing some fancy editing there. I wasn't really worried about the Volm being worse than, now something that is going to happen would be the only thing in this episode that made me go, uh-oh. And it's coming up. Did you have something else?
Yeah. Now I forgot I forgot what I was going to say.
You jinxed. You can't say another word.
That's right. Never mind. It'll come back to me.
Okay. So the second mass is walking like the good old days. Was that to me was one of the best moments of the episode, when they're just walking about like the good old days,
right,
where they were moving up from place to place. That was the best part of the show.
And what was it, me or did Cochise's dad let them go?
Yeah, he let them go. Yes. He was fine with that.
We were talking about earlier, it's like, oh, was this Cochise's plan or not? And at the time, I thought sure, but as we find out, no, it's not Cochise's plan. It was Dad's plan all along.
Yeah, the Volm.
But it sounds like what's going to happen though is that they're going to let the second mass go, and then like everybody else is going to head down to Brazil.
Okay. Because the second mass is just too intense. They're like, nope, we're duking it out. Which would make more sense, I guess, to account for the lack of interaction between other human resistance groups.
But there were in Charleston, there were people there.
Yeah, there was a ton of just regular like civilians there.
And so I can see I bet a lot of those people would rather be, we'd rather be safe. And so get us to Brazil.
And get us some Mai Tai while you're at it.
Yeah.
Now, this is the part where Team Haggy, Hal and Maggie, are talking about life after the war again. As they bebop along. As if the first interaction wasn't enough, they throw the second one in. And I thought this one was even more unnecessary than the first. Because because
I think we already got that from the first time, you know. We got that they have some differences in ideals. I don't think we need to press on with it.
Agreed. Definitely agree. Just then Ben senses the enemy, or he hears them, I don't know. And Lourdes collapses when a ship is inbound. Tom and company are face to face with Karen, some skitters, and a Mega Mech. And she's got a white flag on a stick. The old white flag on a stick trick. And she's like, Hal, I've missed you. I was like, oh gosh, you don't have to rub any more salt in the wound, woman. Karen has some information about the Vaughn. She says that the Espheni door will always be open when they want to fight the Vaughn. What did she mean by that? That's the only part of this episode that made me go, uh oh.
I think she's trying to put doubt in their heads because, as we know, Karen is the chief manipulator.
Yes, she's
And
definitely.
that's exactly what she was doing. She was manipulating to get her way.
Yeah, I agree. She was trying to twist the truth a little bit, but that was the only part of the episode where I go, oh, what does that mean? But see, it doesn't make sense because you're the one that's here first and you're killing and enslaving humans. And then you're going to point the finger at somebody else and say, oh, but they're really bad. You know,
Right.
didn't make much sense to me. So when she said my door is always open, I was like, oh, cool. Maybe next season they'll show us something and such, but we never get to that. And when this is the part, there's so much controversy. I wanted to use the old controversy. That's what I really wanted to use. But this is where the proverbial stuff hits the fan right here. Is because when she goes, Tom, I brought you a gift, and Tom's like, "Yep, I got a gift for you too," and he just he just shoots her, man. I was like, wow. And then all heck breaks loose. And the second mass are victorious because Ben has that big, I call it like the action figure gun. You remember those big
Yeah.
guns they used to package with G.I. Joe characters that were like bigger than them? And it's like, oh, how would one man fire this? But
Yeah, it would be like near impossible to carry that weapon.
yeah. And if you had an army with those, you would slice these as Finney up. I think because they take out the Mega Mechs, the Mechs, the Skitters, they'll take out anybody with these guns. They're so powerful. And when Ben starts letting that thing fly, I was like, whoa, that's some power. Now you're playing with power. And so when Karen is dying, I guess she gets to be really just Karen at this point, and she wants Hal to hold her hand. And he complies, which kind of shocked me a little bit, but I guess shouldn't have. And she says that she's sorry, and that's when Maggie just opens up on her. Which, in my opinion, how did she not accidentally hit Hal? You know, I don't know if you ever shot a large caliber handgun, even at close range. They can.
Oh yeah, I've shot large caliber handguns, and you know what? If you're not an expert or a pro, I guess, with these, yeah, the shots aren't going to go everywhere you think they're going to go.
No, I mean there's anywhere from a 6 to 12 inch gap from where you were pointing to where it actually hit sometimes. And I'm like, okay, she's a crack shot here, one-handed crack shot, and she smoked her on her way out. And I wrote, jealous much? Because she wanted that to be done. And
Yeah, you know what? And I think this right here was the official heel turn of Maggie.
oh, that's perfect. I was gonna use that term earlier for something, but I forgot to. Oh yeah,
And
so
so this is exactly what she did. And it just made me dislike this character. It made me feel sympathetic towards Hal, and again, they're two. It displayed their two ideologies
yep.
better because Hal is this kind of like the comforting, peaceful person, and then we got the volatile Maggie, like screw this, boom, 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 and just
We have
pounds away with weapons or bullets
we have
on
a
her.
good email about that too, I believe. So Hal and Maggie talk about Karen, And you could see Maggie was fishing for what did Hal think about that whole situation. You know what I mean? You could see she was kind of fishing to get his,
Right.
are you mad because I did, and stuff. And he's like, no, and stuff. I think deep down he is.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I think some other things I'm going to save until after I read that email. But Pope's working on a car that he's like, at first, he has no chance of getting this thing going, or limited chance of getting this thing going. And then when Weaver's telling him, like, hey, you're going to have to get this car fixed, it's like, bam, the car is fixed. But Dr. Kadar is talking about Anne and Lexi to Tom. And they want to head to Charleston to warn the people of Charleston about the Ishfini. And we've, just as you told us would happen, Alex, Lexi is, like 3.5 feet tall now. Just like you said.
It kind of surprised me because I kind of figured her to be, they were going to make her be a little older.
Well, it was still a huge jump.
Well, yeah.
I mean, she's supposed to be a little infant. So it's a huge jump, which is ridiculous. And then when she goes to see Lourdes, and does she say something like, bugs, come out, or something like that? And then they come right into her hand, and then she crushes them to dust. And I go, please, no. Please, you didn't just do this. You did what we asked you not to do. I mean, this is exactly what you and I were talking about earlier this season, going, please don't do this. And they did it.
It's all of our fears have been all but confirmed, I guess.
Yeah, all our fears rolled into one show. Alex, should we go to our voicemail? We got a voicemail from Jim. It is awesome. You want to go to that first and then email?
Okay.
All right, let me get to Jim's feedback. Here we go.
Greetings, gentlemen. Just thought I would send in a few remarks on the Falling Skies finale. Oh my, I am beginning to wonder if this show hasn't run its course. Normally I just watch the show and I don't usually pick it apart. I have a great capacity for suspending my disbelief in most cases, but this episode went well beyond even my capacity. First, after relying heavily on the second mast to help them get that weapon all the way to Chicago, the Foam are just going to say, thanks a lot for all your help. We're taking over now, and all of you have earned an all-expense-paid vacation to our concentration camp in Brazil. Yep, that's going to happen. But when Weaver lays down his weapon and is just going to comply, this was way too far outside of what I would expect from Weaver. Thankfully, this was resolved later in the show. The one thing I cannot resolve, though, is Tom shooting Karen. Now, we all knew that Karen was going to get a bad case of lead poisoning as soon as she met Clan Mason. I would have expected Maggie to do the shooting, or even Hal to get even with all that she put him through, but no. The writers bring Karen on the scene carrying a flag of truce, and this moral paragon, this pillar of virtue, this former president of the new United States, in front of his 3 sons, shoots carrying a white flag. I am having my doubts about the success of a 4th season at this point. Well, there it is. This is Kahless. Kapla!
Awesome. I absolutely love the ending. Awesome.
Kapla!
I love that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Klingon. I love that.
Thank you so much, Jim, for sending that well thought out voicemail our way. And I mean, he makes an excellent point. It's totally different. We have another email or another feedback that goes right along with this. 1 or 2 more that go right along with this. This is Tom Mason, for goodness sakes.
Right.
He's the poster child of doing everything the right way. And then all of a sudden, these last few episodes, he's just off the rails.
Well, I think he has a reason to be off the rails, though.
But let me just say this. His real wife was killed by these aliens. And he still wanted to do things the right way. So now all of a sudden his new woman and child, he thinks he doesn't even have concrete evidence that they're dead. He's just going by what he's told.
Mm-hmm.
And in the time that we know from other seasons would question everything. But on this occasion, he just takes her word. You know, he was asleep with a face hugger on him. He should know they have the capability to just put you in suspended animation or whatever. I don't know. I agree with Jim. It just seemed like a gigantic departure from the character they've spent over 2 seasons building and showing us that he's not willing to do everything. He's more helpful than harmful, and then now, bam, it's totally the other way around because he's motivated.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure that we've seen the last of Karen though, because I know Remy Abushan kind of said, "Yeah, this is kind of it with Karen." You know what? This is the Ishfini. I don't think we've seen the last of Karen. In fact, Jesse Schramm, who played the actress who plays Karen, I
Is this a spoiler or something that should
no,
be?
it's not a spoiler. I tweeted towards her because she said, "Yeah, I'm kind of sad to go." I said, "I bet you though we haven't seen the last of that character."
Okay. Well, we'll see next year, I
That's
guess.
that's my gut feeling. I don't think we've seen the last of Karen.
Okay. Well, we'll put that in the vault and check it out, I guess, next season. Now, let's get into some more email. Hi, guys. Thanks for doing the podcast. Am I to believe that the Ashfini grid is some impenetrable shield that cannot be affected from the outside? In other sci fi movies and shows, they state that shields can withstand a certain amount of impacts before they are damaged. Why go against this tried and true methodology? So if the Ashfini can get to a planet first, set up their grid, they're usually golden since the planets the Volm have, or since most of the planets that the Volm have been to are very submissive. Sounds like a huge plot hole to me. And this is John. So he's saying, like, if you have people that are submissive once they get overthrown, then how would you get one of the grids down if no other planet has fought back? And that's a good point.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point. You know what? I think what they should do is they need to use this Volm weapon and bring it into Under the Dome and try it out there.
oh no, Jim Rennie will not allow that. All right. So that, how come? Why would they go against the tried and true method of that? I didn't know what to. I didn't respond to him because I didn't know what to say. because a shield should have just, oh, they're damaged. So if you go to a planet that has that grid up, you're just done. You just got to go to the next planet because it's over. That, I don't.
No, I think what they were trying to show is that the weakness to the shield isn't from above; it's going to be from within
Inside
the shield.
Well, I agree with that, but it also makes no. I mean, I guess I just wonder: are there just dozens of planets that are just Ishfini controlled because they have the grid up and there's nobody willing to fight to get it down?
There's not a resistance group like this. Is the only resistance they have is from the people of Earth.
From
No,
America.
I don't buy that either.
I don't either. So that's a good point. All right, let's move on. Hello, guys. Great job on the show and season 4. Let's all agree that this show will have run its course after season 4. yeah, agreed. So say we all. All right. Do you guys think that the writers, producers, and actors feel the same way? I love the show, and I love that I found a great podcast to go with it. But this season, for the most part, felt like a departure from the first 2 and added more questions than actually resolving any storylines. When the girl had grown, like Alex predicted, and had magical powers, like he also predicted, I felt like I had seen this too many times before.
Well, we have though.
Rebecca. That's from Rebecca. So thanks, John. Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, like you said a long time ago, we've seen it. It's tired. It's done to death. It's just like a cop out writing scheme. The special child has to do this, this, and this. It's tired. I don't know. It's been done to death. So I don't
I
like
mean,
that.
we can trace the super powered alien all the way back to Superman in 1939.
Wow. What do you think, Alex, on the question, do you think the writers, producers, and actors kind of feel like this show has run its course? Do you think that
You know
they
what? When I think this season we saw a lot of cliches.
yeah.
Too many cliched situations.
Yep.
And you know what? I still love this show, and it's kind of like how I feel about another one of my favorite shows, How I Met Your Mother. I believe that show kind of ran its course 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just, come on, guys, let's end on a high note, not prolong the inevitable.
And it appeared to me the way this episode was written, where Hal's talking to Maggie about life after the war, it almost feels like that the writers were like, hey, we got to kind of set this up just in case this is it. Yeah, that's what
Right.
that's the first time this season that I felt that way. But I felt like that, maybe there was some uncertainty on a season 4. But I think next season has to be it. I just couldn't see going into a season 5 and being stoked about it.
Well, next season, season 4, I don't know if everybody knows about this or not, but they are going to actually have 12 episodes.
Hmm?
Yes, you heard it here first, folks. 12 episodes.
I'm gonna do my Scooby Doo. Oh, did not know that.
So we'll most likely, I think what's going to happen is we will have
2 hour finale
our 2 hour
intro.
season premiere, and then we'll have our 2 hour either series or season finale.
Oh, I like the way you're presenting this, my friend. I like it a lot. All right, shall we go to the last email?
All right.
Have we finally seen Tom go to the dark side? Oh, love the Star Wars reference. My Mr. Good Guy has finally given way to a much darker, motivated, revenge-seeking father. While I think the show did a poor job of transitioning Tom from light to dark this season, I do think the show did a great job of showing us that Maggie is more of a Pope kind of woman than she will ever be a Hal lady. I think next season we'll see Hal and Lourdes get together, and Pope and Maggie head off for more adventure near the end of the season. I can also see the Stargirl going with the aliens, the Volm, I guess she means, to help take back other conquered Ishvini worlds. And this is Beth. Thank you, Beth. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree that I think we've seen in this episode that's again it's going to we're going to see it come into fruition the next season. We're going to see a relationship between Lourdes and Hal because both of them have gone through that,
Ooh.
being infected by the bugs, and so they got a type of sympathy toward one another.
Yes. It's like both of them have some kind of disease.
Yeah, it's like they're survivors of this, and so I think those two. Yeah, I definitely think that they're gonna have some type of relationship, and the thing with Maggie is gonna sour. Well, it started souring in this episode.
Yeah, this whole season.
And then
really.
I could see her going off with Pope.
I can too. I think Beth actually probably works for TNT. No, I'm just kidding. I'm cheesing, but it does sound very plausible. So, Alex, any other things you want to discuss before we wrap this up?
Yeah, one last thing. I was thinking after the episode. Um, as we know, season 2 we lost a lot of cast members. You know what? This season we really didn't lose any, especially major cast members.
Mm-mm.
Now I thought for sure we were going to lose Lourdes, but
Me
that
too.
wasn't the case.
Yeah, me too.
And other than Crazy Lee,
Yeah.
we really, not that I can think of right now, we didn't lose anybody because like last season, oh my word, we lost little Jimmy, we lost
Oh,
let's see,
you're now thinking.
you know what,
Got yourself
stupid
in a
Mike's
mess.
son,
Ricky.
Ricky. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rick, we lost him.
He lost to a shotgun.
And
Yeah.
so, and what the heck? Oh, we lost Jamil,
Oh, yes.
and of course, Die.
Where's my hat? I gotta take my hat and hold it over my heart.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? This season though, it's Crazy Lee. I think is like the only one of the
Well,
only
we lost
major ones, other than
that one guy that we've never met before. We lost him right off the bat.
right. And you know what? What the heck happened to Tector?
Hey, excellent point.
We haven't seen him at. We've seen him at the beginning of the season, and then he just kind of dropped off.
Faded
So,
away.
so did Tector kind of go Chuck Cunningham on us, or what?
Or he didn't re-sign or something, and or he had to go home for some emergency and couldn't be in the shots. That is a great observation. How very astute of you. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. You know, we didn't hear from James this week. He sent me some.
Uh-oh.
James sent me some Lego Death Star images that he's built. He built a Death Star 300 or 3,800 pieces.
Oh, you guys send me those pictures. I
I'll
gotta see that.
forward you those pictures right now. But he didn't send a recap, so I was a little sad.
Okay, you know what? We're probably gonna have to do another episode
Yep.
just based on James's impressions.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. I totally agree.
so I know last year when we finished up season 2, we did one more episode, just kind of.
Get
But
some
I
final.
hate to say it, but I think we kind of did it with this episode because again, I'm gonna reiterate what I said at the beginning. This season, you know what? If it's kind of reminded me of season 2 of Game of Thrones. If you get rid of everything that happened between the first episode of the season, the last episode of the season, really didn't miss much. And that's kind of what happened with this season.
I agree with you 100%, man, because it seems so out of place, if that's the right term. Like most of the episodes just seem so, I don't know, just irrelevant or nothing to do with driving this overarching storyline. It just was
So where
really
where are we gonna go
contrived.
next? Because now the second mess is now a roving band of rebels. Where are they gonna go? Are they gonna go to the West Coast, or are they gonna head back to Chicago to kick some more butt? What are they doing?
And I think if you're telling me they have a season 4 with 12 episodes, every episode has to drive these characters' storylines to me. You can't have another episode where it's like these two are now going to duke it out on an island by themselves for the whole episode. You can't do that again. Just my opinion. Now, Alex, we do have to hand out the Stupid Mike Memorial Award this week. Who would you elect to receive this?
I am going to give mine to Tector for chickening out on the fighting in this episode.
That's
Um,
not right. That's not
other
fair.
uh, other than that, you know what?
I'll give it to Karen. I want to give it to Karen because seriously, if you think that your little stick with the white flag, which it should buy you some leeway, but if you think a little stick with a white flag is gonna make you miss out on slurping down a bunch of bullets, you are in insane. This man thinks you have killed his wife and children. Maggie hates you. Hal probably hates you. You know what I mean? I think she deserves it. I think she's earned it.
All right, I agree.
Because she
Let's
could
give it to
have
her.
she could have been a Mason, at one point. So it's kind of still
Yeah, definitely.
almost still in the family, man. Let's give it to her. Come back from the dead, Karen, and accept your award of stupidity. Next time, get a longer stick and a bigger white flag. All right. And then what did you rate this episode out of 10? What do you give this?
You know what? I enjoyed this episode despite the holes. But like I said, all the cool stuff happened the very first 15 minutes, and then it's like most of the cool special effects disappeared soon after.
Yeah.
I'd give it a 7, a C minus.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think I will have to agree with you. I might bump mine up to an 8 just because they attempted to do something. They attempted to do a special effect during the daytime. So I'll give them an 8 for that. But other than that, it would have been a 7. So I
Kind of like CM Punk last night trying to spit up his gum in the air, try to swat it like Mr. Perfect, and he epically failed.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet, but okay.
Oh, yeah, you'll love it.
Nice. All right.
And then he proceeds to pick the gum up from the wrestling mat and puts it back in his mouth, which
Gross.
disgusted me. But
That's pretty gross. All right. I think that's going to do it. Folks, if you want to join in on a wrap-up show of sorts, if you want to send in anything that's got you ticked, any predictions for season 4, any questions you may have, we might not be able to answer them, but you can send them to tprfans@yahoo.com. That's tprfans@yahoo.com. You can use the SpeakPipe widget on the side of tpenetwork.com. It's a little hovering widget. You can just record your voice right from your computer into the website right there. You could send us an MP3 like Jim did, which was awesome. And you could call our voicemail line +1 810-309-8445. Regular toll charges do apply. And one last thing, please consider joining our hunger campaign. We're just going to do it for a little while longer to try to we would love to provide 2,000 meals for the hungry, which sounds like a lot, but it's a very small amount when you compare the just the how much it costs to provide 2,000 meals. Is very, very reasonable, and that's our goal is between 2,000 and 6,000 meals. So please head to tpenetwork.com/hunger for more information on how you can help us make that goal. We hope you'll participate. But for Alex Cruz, I'm Hank Davis. Until next time, my friends, we're signing off.
see ya.